one of the biggest wins in my career.
Why is that?
It's Bristol, baby!
Bristol, Bristol, Bristol. Welcome to the Bristol edition of the Armchair Crew Chief. We are 5 races in, and we have 5 different winners. Hey everybody, welcome once again. My name is Jordan. I am joined by my lovely wife, Rebecca, and we have a lot to unpack, and let's go ahead and get started. We only had 2 series that ran this past weekend, and the 2 series were trucks, and then Cup Series, obviously. So let's go ahead and dive into it, and just go ahead and hit it off with trucks and qualifying. Our top 5 in qualifying: Ty Majeski, Kyle Busch, Taylor Gray, Nick Sanchez, Christian Eckes. Big thing that happened with these truck races and going on with Cup Series beforehand, before the race, Bristol had a repave, and they put down, instead of PJ1 PJ1 aka traction compound to some, they put down a resin, and there was
lots of loosey cars and trucks out there.
Lots of loose trucks out there going nuts. It ended up being pretty much, for the most part, a two truck battle throughout the whole race. Finishing off stage 1, top 5, we had Zane Smith, Ty Majeski, Nick Sanchez, Christian Eckes, and Kyle Busch. Our stage 2, we had Zane Smith, Ty Majeski, Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez, and Kyle Busch. And before we get into the winner of this race, last year, so this is the first time in 4 years that we've ran the spring race on concrete.
Yeah.
The past few years it has been dirt, so that's a big change that we've had. We had, a lot of mixing up, a lot of messing. We had some heat go around with some of these guys. Grant Enfinger, I believe it was. No, Stuart Friesen, excuse me, and Nick Sanchez. They got into it pretty heated on after the race.
Well, they got into each other twice on the track.
They did get into each other twice on the track. It was, ended up being only 6 cautions for a truck race.
Yeah.
I mean, after Daytona, it's like the trucks have kind of calmed down and are actually running well. So that's a plus that we have there. With that being said, though, not too many people got up and fight. It was kind of stay in line and run around. But we didn't see, and it's all, and we'll talk about later, all different things with the trucks, from tires to the way the trucks are set up, that, we didn't see the same fighting, or however you want to call it, between the Cup Series and the trucks. They were loose. The trucks were loose, but they weren't.
They weren't as loose as the Cup cars.
And so Kyle Busch came out, and he pretty much said, they ran some of the tires on older date codes, so the tires were older than the newer tires that they had out there. They were loose all night. It was interesting to watch. Matt Crafton came up and had some running to do. He made it interesting a little bit in some of the race. Something that Matt Crafton hasn't had in a very long time.
Yeah.
He did. So, you had that. You had Ty Majeski, who won in 22, spun around lap 144 at the start, collecting Ben Rhodes, and that was interesting to see, just how everything happened with that. 98 Ford later went behind the wall. It was interesting. Like I said, Crafton was 4th after joining Eckes and Busch in a 3-way battle. Just moving around. It was more of a paced race going back and forth, almost like a Cup Series at Phoenix, where they didn't do a lot of passing.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of
and so that was there, but it was close. It wasn't like Kyle Busch running away with the race, or something like that. Like what happened last week when they ran. Kyle Busch pretty much just ran away with the race and took the win. Still, the big thing that kind of we've noticed, it's not that we noticed, but we don't like, is the fact that when you have a non-regular in the Truck Series get anywhere within the top 10, those points are actually missed instead of just rotating them down. I get, like, you don't want to give the winner points to second place whenever the winner doesn't win the race. But the stage points, which are very valuable to people, if you have somebody finishing second, go to third and just dump everybody down. So,
same with when they drive in Xfinity.
Yeah, same thing in Xfinity.
They're just taking points away from the regulars.
I mean, and I get what Kyle Busch said, where he's got it. I mean, this was mostly when he was with his own team. He brought the most money to the team to help fund it. I understand that, but at the same time, you gotta hamstring. You can't like.
But his points don't do anything.
No, his points don't do anything, but the money comes in.
No,
so it's like, move the points down or do something like that. Same thing with William Byron and all these other guys that run, Christopher Bell. So
I'm not saying like they shouldn't win the money or anything, but they should like give the points to the regulars.
Yeah. So
I think that the competition would be even more if that would happen, because there's one more spot.
It would be, sometimes it wouldn't be it would be closer in the points race towards playoffs.
Yeah.
So going into the race ending of the race, Lane Riggs got 10th, Grant Enfinger 9th, Rajah Caruth 8th, Taylor Gray 7th, Corey Himes 6th, Tyler Ankrum 5th, Matt Crafton 4th, Zane Smith 3rd, Kyle Busch 2nd, Christian Eckes 1st. Zane Smith was up there with those guys the whole time. Rajah kept battling back.
Sanchez was up there for a little while.
Yeah, he was up there too.
Until he got
in with
wreck.
With Friesen. Mm-hmm. Rajah Caruth, he was probably one of the only ones that passed back and forth a lot.
Yeah. Because
something would happen, he would have to go all the way to the back and come forward. But to just kind of give you an idea of like what we were talking about, Kyle Busch led 105 laps, and Christian Eckes, our winner, led 144 laps. Those two guys led pretty much all the laps with the exception of Zane Smith, which I think Zane Smith started on the pole and he won that one. I just said who started on the pole. Christian Eckes did. Zane Smith came from 7th. So, he had a pretty good truck, but it looks like, Chevrolet has been running around with these guys recently, winning most of the races that they had. We'll see what happens going forward. Next week is going to be interesting with that. We'll cover that here shortly. Let's go ahead and move on to the Big Mac Daddy, the one that everybody hated / loved / oh my gosh, it was
all about the tires.
Yes. Tires. And,
there was tires blowing up. There was tires falling apart. There was tires rolling out of pit stalls. It was all tires.
Tires being mounted to be given to the teams.
It was just tires.
So, again, going back to what we were talking about, they ran resin. And the reason they're running resin is because Bristol's now considered a wet weather track, which means they can throw the wet weather tires on there and run around, I guess, as long as it's not a torrential downpour, because they're not required to have the wiper blades or the mud flaps. So
they did have the wiper blades though, because the one Eric Jones has had all this stuff wrapped.
So I guess they were there. Then I don't remember seeing them on any of the other cars, unless that was just cord junks getting stuck on the camera. I don't think they had.
No, it looked like it was going up from the. But maybe it wasn't. I don't know what that was.
They didn't have
then.
the mud flaps or anything like that. So this track is very different in that in that to speak of. With that being said, well, let's go ahead and talk about where everything qualified and stuff like that. So our top 5 in qualifying were Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin 3rd, Josh Berry 2nd, Ryan Blaney 1st. They had 5 Fords, 2 Toyotas, 3 Chevrolets in the top 10. Fords have been, for all intents and purposes, running away with qualifying.
Yeah.
Can't do anything too much on the racetrack. Blaney's
they get here and there.
But they can't finish it.
No, they haven't finished it yet this year.
Because Gilliland and McDowell have been running really well.
Yes, those two have been running really well. I think McDowell could have won that one race, but then he messed up and going into the pits and
yeah
stuff.
So going into stage 1, our top 5: John Hunter, Keselowski, Buescher, Larson, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs had a really strong car this race.
He went back to front a couple times.
Yeah, because after I think it was this end of stage 1, he actually had a penalty on pit road.
There was lots of penalties on pit road.
Yes, there were a lot of penalties on pit road. And
I think Kyle Busch had 2.
Yes, he did. And to give you guys an idea with Bristol, if you're not familiar if you're not familiar with Bristol, if you're under caution, you have to enter in to pits at turn 4 and ride all the way around, and ride the whole pit road just like you would any other track. So what makes it so special with Bristol is technically 2 pit roads. You have a front stretch and a back stretch pit road. So if you're under green and you have a back stretch pit road or pit entry, you come in on turn 2 and then exit turn 3, and turn 4, turn 1 if you're, if you're under green flag conditions. Yellow flag conditions, you have to run the whole track on the apron. So one of our first few guys that actually blew a tire was Kyle Busch. Blew a tire, and there were people blowing it. So at the end of stage 1, the start of stage 2, we had Tyler Reddick up front.
Yes, he didn't go in to get
so
tires.
What happened with him is, the tire wear was so drastic at this track, and we'll get on some reasons why and more information about that, but tire wear was so crazy. In an interview that he did with SiriusXM NASCAR radio, he pretty much said he was on cords on that. And so he spun, he couldn't turn it, he was going up. He made the comment that I said in my brain, your teammate would have never said what you said. I'm not going to wreck the 23 because he's my teammate. So he stayed down. He got loose, he spun. Unfortunately for Zane Smith got on the marbles on the apron, and I quote what Tyler Reddick said. He said, trying to stop on those marbles is like glass. He slid, and unfortunately I collected him too. And our race cars were done. So people were spinning out, checking up, all this. I mean, it was nuts.
They could, at the beginning of the race, they could only go about 31 laps before somebody's tire blew, or
I think it was less than that. I think it was 27.
I don't know. It was around that many.
So it was.
So then they had to figure out how to not wear the tires down so much.
Right.
And they worked on it, which kind of made the race a little bit exciting, but yet a little bit boring because you had people saving their tires. So they couldn't run full force. So I feel like it could have been a better race if they had a better tire, because they were really racing. There was lots of cars back and forth, back and forth. Josh Berry was up and back a couple times.
Whoever got out front ended up dictating the speed of the race. especially when they didn't know how they were going to run their tires.
Yeah.
Now, and we'll get to that here shortly. Let's go ahead and go on to stage 2. Our ending stage 2 was Seabell 5th, John Hunter 4th, Joe Logano 2nd, Keselowski 2nd, Joe Logano 3rd, and Ty Gibbs once again 1st.
Yeah, I picked Ty Gibbs to win the race.
Yep.
But that didn't happen.
And then, so let's go ahead and get our top 5 finish over with, and we'll continue on with the discussion. Because, I mean, there is still a lot to unpack on this whole race. So, Kyle Larson, 5th. Alex Bowman, he made a really good running coming back up.
Unfortunately.
He started 29th. So, I mean, surprisingly, he did well. Keselowski got 3rd. Truex got 2nd. Denny got 1st. So Denny led 163 laps of this race, of this 500 lap race. So going back to what we were talking about with the tires. What's his name? Fox. Larry Mack had a screenshot taken before the racing, all the racing, and then after the racing Sunday of the track. Looked exactly the same. The track was not taking rubber.
It was not.
And that was the issue. Reddick came out and said, you get up in that second groove and it was like a cheese grater.
Yeah.
And it was a softer compound that they had running. It was, and also before people start saying, well, they ran the same, because they ran almost the same package and the close to the same tire, I think it was, if not the same tire, last year at the night race. It was cooler yesterday than at the night race, Sunday than at the night race last year. So there was a cold front that came through in the morning. It was overcast, windy. It was chilly. So that played a role in everything. It had to. They brought a really soft compound, which people were saying, some of these people were...
It was balling up everywhere. It wasn't staying on the track. It was balling up. I mean, after they could get tires, a lot of the tires were on fire because of all the rubber that was in the brake area.
Marbles were getting everywhere. When they showed a camera of somebody, a bumper camera of somebody hitting somebody, and you just saw marbles fall out of the wheel wells.
Shoot out.
So, I mean, it was ridiculous how much it was marbling and not sticking to the track. And, I mean, honestly, it made Clint Boyer look like a fool because he kept saying stuff and they kept proving him wrong towards the end. They had a very wild green flag run to what Reddick was saying. He was pretty much saying to the effect of, people were managing it better, but then also they got on cords. They were running on cords for a lot of the race too.
Yeah.
And they were just slowing down and managing it that way. The fan, apparently from what I saw, everybody said this was the best race since sliced bread. Some people argued, well, you apparently didn't watch Atlanta earlier this year.
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad race. It could have been a lot better, though, if they didn't have this huge problem with the tires.
That's
because
my
the
problem.
speed was there. They really had some good speed. And there was a lot of passing.
Right.
Which sometimes doesn't happen at Bristol that much. You'll have the front passing everyone, but there's not a lot of passing in the pack.
Right.
But there was a lot of passing.
I think, yeah, I mean,
Ty Gibbs at one point unlapped himself.
Yeah, this is how I put it. And I put it this way, and I'm taking from what Kyle Larson said. He said, and I was telling you about this earlier this morning, he said, that was an awesome race if I only had to run it once.
Yeah.
If they don't get this fixed, it's going to be horrible. And it's not so much, I can hear people in the background, oh, tire management, this is ridiculous, this was awesome, tires shouldn't last. Tires need to last more than 25 to 30 laps.
Yes.
Come on, people.
At a short track.
Yeah, at a short track where they're running 500 laps. And they only started off with 9 sets of tires, and that includes their scuffs.
Yeah.
So, and their scuffs are what they ran on for qualifying.
So after the second caution, Goodyear's like, okay, we think we have enough that everyone can have one more set. and you're like, are they gonna make it to the end?
And to put it in perspective on that, I think they said it's 145 total tires among all the teams.
It can't be
It can't be 148. I think it was 148. It couldn't be an odd number. Well, who knows? If we're doing NASCAR math. But anyway, so that played a big role in it. Toyota kicked butt once again. I mean,
they did. They were a lot of the Toyotas were up there.
The new Toyota. Well, yeah, JGR was running 1, 2, 3, 4 for the longest bit, and they were shuffling for who was leading. So, I mean, for the questions that we all had after the qualifying at Daytona, my goodness, they have come back with a vengeance. They're still not qualifying too well. I mean, you still have your hits and misses because Denny qualified pretty high. He was third. But as a whole, you still have them sitting kind of like what they were last year. They're not qualifying awesome consistently, but they're not horrible. And then you got Chevrolet, who's in limbo right now.
Yeah.
Floating around. Ford seems to have gotten it down with qualifying. They tried to get their
it's not translating onto the track.
Right, which is what they wanted. They wanted a better short track. They wanted a better intermediate track car. I haven't seen it.
Not
I mean,
really.
they're up there, but they were up there last year.
Like you said, only McDowell and Gilliland, really. Blaney, too. Blaney's been up there.
So, anyway, talking about lead changes, we had 54 lead changes in this race. And to give you an idea of laps led, you had Seabell lead 29 out of the JGR camp. Ty Gibbs led 137. Then you had Truex at 54 and Denny at 163. The other guys that led laps, Larson, Bowman led 3, Keselowski led 1, Buescher led 17, Elliott 5. I mean, shoot, what's his name? Boyer was going nuts because he thought Elliott was going back. And
Elliott was up
fizzled.
there, and then, he fizzled right out.
Now, another thing that's kind of interesting about what happened at Bristol, the Bristol fans booed everybody that came out.
Everyone?
Everybody. According to Denny Hamlin on Actions Detrimental, according to Pockris and a few other guys that were there, because it shocked them that they were booing Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
And then Denny came out and said they were booing everybody. And I think he said, and I quote, and I'm gonna quote this. So he said, Tennessee fans woke up, or Tennessee fans chose violence today, or something like that. And that, I mean, I don't know. It's nobody wanted to see Denny win.
No.
Denny and his crew chief Gabe Hart came out and were quick to not point all the fingers at Goodyear. They did say that there has to be something in the formulation that Goodyear did with their tire, but they didn't blame Goodyear entirely. I mean, Goodyear came out looking like the drunkard that got ran into the door.
They were looking like the mid-90s, early 2000s when they were just popping all the time. They're like, it's not us, it's not us. And then it's like, yes, it is you.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. Denny claims that his win was good because he's taking stuff from South Boston, Martinsville, Mid-Atlantic, the raceways, because he grew up around near there. Within a few hours drive from Bristol, probably 5 hours at most. You would
think more people would like him there.
So I think he actually calls Martinsville his home track, if I remember correctly. He's from Chesterfield, but I mean, he called out and said, the older guys knew how to do it because Keselowski third, Truex second, and these guys knew how to run it. And the pit crew did well for the guys. You can't.
Well, some of the pit crews.
Yeah, some of the pit crews. I mean,
there was
tires rolling around.
There was a lot of.
But then
like going through too many stalls.
Right.
There was
sliding. Truck slid a little bit. I remember one time.
Somebody, I think Kyle Busch took out one of his guys.
Yeah, was
the
it
tire
Kyle
wasn't
Busch?
on
Yes,
yet.
Kyle Busch took out one of his guys. He's tried the jack dropped, so he was going on jack drop, but the lug was not on all the way.
Yeah, and the tire changer was in front of him still.
Yeah, trying to tell him to stop.
Yeah, was on top of his car.
But so they had one green flag stop at the end of the race. Everybody was running. That's what allowed Denny to get out.
Yeah, that's what.
To a 1 second, roughly a 1 second lead is what he ended up finishing the race with. That's what allowed him to get out that far. He kind of threw it off going in the pits because it was pretty much the Hamlin.
Well, it was that, and then the traffic, because there was a huge gaggle. There was a cars that they had to get through, and I was like, so Truex got up to him, but then
this was even before
through that too.
They were fighting. It was the Truex and Denny show. Pretty much at the end. The final, 80 laps, 90 laps. And actually, it was more than that, 120 laps, I think it was. It was after the last caution. It was a Truex and Denny show. And they were really close. I think Truex would have caught him if it wasn't for... And I'm not even going to put this one on Denny, because Denny kind of checked up real quick to go down and pit. It was Joey not getting up and going out of pit road. And this is what I was talking about earlier with it being a front stretch and back stretch pit road. Joey pitted on the back stretch, Martin's on the front stretch. Joey's kind of getting off, but he can't get his butt
so he couldn't get down to
and
pit.
so Truex couldn't get down and had to slam on his brakes more, and that caused a bigger gap. But the gap between second and third was like 6 seconds.
Yeah.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. So, and this was just all green flags. So that ended up being the race, and the part that drives me nuts is the fans. And I say it drives me nuts because of the fans. Because if we rewind to earlier in the week, last week, people were complaining they wanted more horsepower. Mm-hmm. Because Kyle Larson made a comment about it. And one of these people that I follow on social media rightfully said, I think Denny actually said it first. And then Larson says it, and it's okay. It's like, come on, guys, get your head out of your butts and just realize, other people are talking about this, but because, the chosen one right now, Kyle Larson, says it, it's got to be it.
No, it's not. It's not just Kyle Larson. It's Hendrick.
So
if Hendrick's saying it, they're going to say it. Because if William Byron said it too, it'd happen. If Chase Elliott, definitely.
Of course, yeah. So they're parroting, they're talking about it, and they're, horsepower. And then, so now you hear on social media everywhere, horsepower this, horsepower that, horsepower this, horsepower that. And I'll remember the one person has told me, he was like, get them off the 18s, put them on 16s again. Take the restrictor plates off, the tapered spacers, take it and just give them all the horsepower. And it'll never happen. I'm sorry, Randy. It will never happen because somebody's going to kill themselves.
Yeah,
and that's what he says. He's like, let them realize that when they're going down into turn one, that they got to let up. They can't just keep going. And to that extent, that's kind of what Reddick was talking about with tires here. Is tires, he was making that comment that everybody's used to beating and abusing tires, and you go out there, and the reason they stayed out on that stage into stage one is they were hoping that the Bristol of old was coming back. Mm-hmm. That's why they stayed out, and it didn't work out. I mean, this track wasn't taking rubber; it was tearing tires up. You had two grooves. One groove was tearing your tires up like nobody's business. The other groove, you were still wearing tires out. So it was... Yeah,
and it was weird because, the beginning of the race, you couldn't go up at the top, at all. Only a few cars could. And then, 25, 30 laps in, now everybody's on the top.
Yeah, and so it turned into a 3-groove race eventually, but I think that third groove came out because of the fact that you
They were
couldn't
saving
hold,
tires.
Well,
and
you couldn't hold your
it.
car because
Yeah.
the cords, but
Yeah.
you didn't want to drive up there anyway because of all the marbles.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy. They were showing them, and it was nuts about how much there were. So, I mean, it was a tire race. I think,
Yeah, it's crazy because normally there's marbles up there. You don't usually really see them that much.
no, you could see them from the
like,
TV camera.
yes, you
from
they
and not
they
just,
were huge.
Yeah, they were big. They were real big. It was like, I don't even know what to compare it with. But bring this tire a little bit harder than this tire, and I think you're going to have some good racing, especially on this type of track. This tire was not meant for it. This was horrible and disgusting. So I think if they brought another tire, it would be okay. Mm-hmm. With that being said,
I think so too. Like I said, it was a good race, but I think it could have been a great race if they had a better tire because there was so much passing. It was a really good race. There wasn't, like you said, there wasn't too many till the end when they had to do the green flag. There wasn't too much of a gap between the cars at all.
So the question is, what's going to happen when we go to Dover in about a month? Because Dover's concrete.
Yeah.
We just left the concrete.
Well,
Are they going to run resin and do all this stuff? They're going to run PJ1?
Better bring a better tire.
I mean, anybody that knows Dover knows that it's more than likely going to rain. It's Delaware in April.
It doesn't matter because it used to be in June and it would rain.
Okay, it's Delaware.
It's just like Pocono. It always rains at Pocono.
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing here to figure it out. We're moving on to our first road course of the season. We're running Circuit of the Americas in Austin, just outside of Austin, south of Austin. Formula One, not former, but Formula One track is the reason this thing was built. It wasn't designed for NASCAR.
It's the weirdest shaped track ever.
Well, again, it wasn't meant for NASCAR, so
no, I know that, but it doesn't matter what car is on it. It's very oddly shaped.
So before we move on to that, I want to put this little tidbit out. This is about Toyota's dominance right now. Between Phoenix and Bristol, Toyota has led 696 out of the 812 laps.
Wow.
Denny's led 231 of those laps, and Ty Gibb 194.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Toyota's there, and we're going to see what happens going forward. I see, maybe, I don't know what's going to happen this next race, because I could see, I don't know I don't know, because there's too many things going on right now. But I don't think Ford's going to sit there. Is Chevrolet is Chase Elliott going to get his win, that he needs because we're going to a road course? What's going to happen? our entry list for it. So we have all three series running at Circuit of the Americas. We have our XPEL XPEL 225. That one is going to be going off, and we'll talk about times here later. The entry list for that race is we have. Let's see if I can find anybody that looks. Marco Andretti's going to be running the 04 Roper Racing Chevrolet Group 1001 CarQuest. Trying to see who else kind of sticks out here real quick as looking through it. We have a car that doesn't even have a driver right now, or a truck. But it doesn't look like there's... Ross Chastain's going to be running the 45 truck. That is going to be TXAPA, whatever the world that is. So that seems to be our two guys sticking out right now for trucks. And then going into the Xfinity race, it is the Focused Health 250. And our entry list for that is, excuse me, We got Custer, Mayer, Love. We have a 4-car who's not known who's driving it. Anybody sticking out here, you got Haley Deegan's going to be running the Cody Jinks Change the Game car. Cody Jinks is a country singer. I think he's actually the Grand Marshal or something like that.
Interesting.
Dinger's running Celsius. You got Larson. Larson's going to be running the 17. Ty Gibbs is running the 19. John Hunter's running the 20. I mean, that's kind of getting annoying that John Hunter's still running all these races down there. And it's like, I don't know. He's running the Dial car, like Dial soap.
He's got some solid sponsors this year. You probably can buy Dial soap at the Dollar Tree.
Probably could, at least at the Dollar General or Family Dollar. So that seems to be the big ones coming out here.
Is Shane Van Ginsberg?
Yes,
driving?
Well, he's a regular in Xfinity this year.
I didn't know they was driving every race.
He is he's running for Xfinity, running for the championship / the Rookie of the Year, which I don't think he's actually leading it, to be honest with you. I can't remember who it was. Jesse Love. Jesse Love's leading the Rookie of the Year. I think he's going to end up winning it just because of how everything is. Alex LeBay is running. Well, he always runs. What am I talking about? There was somebody else I thought I saw that stuck out that is not a regular that's running. We do have 3 cars here that are to be announced on drivers on our entry list. So that ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
And then we go into our Echo Park Echo Park Grand Prix. That is the Echo Park Texas Grand Prix, I think is what it's actually called.
Are they doing stage breaks again or no?
Yes. So there are stage breaks are back because NASCAR wants more money. They want more commercials.
Yes.
Which again,
1000%.
Fox, yet again, horrible on.
Oh, horrible production team. Horrible.
I mean, you're sitting there, and this one, I'm blaming this one. Well, I don't know. Qualifying. Kyle Busch is running his qualifying lap. They zoom in and on RC. RC's got this dumbfounded look on his face after watching it. And then we hear them say, oh, Kyle Busch almost got up in the wall. And it's like, well, it'd be nice to watch that. And it was slightly frustrating watching. And, we're for the most part Truex fans in this household. But it got annoying watching the front of the race because you wanted to watch what was going on behind it because it was more interesting in some extents. Until they started getting into lap traffic.
Yeah.
But they don't go and show anybody else. They don't do the through the field. They didn't do any of that. It was horrendous. It was embarrassing.
I still don't understand why they don't go through the field anymore. That was like a really good segment that they had going through the field. But now it's like they'll be talking about something that's going on and we don't see it. And I could tell too that the commentators were definitely looking at their monitors because they missed a crash. They're like, oh, we don't know what happened here. And it's like, you're at Bristol. How do you not see it?
Right. Yeah.
You have the largest thing on the...
You have Colossus.
Okay.
You can watch whatever Bristol Speedway puts up there on their screen.
Yeah.
Plus, it's so tiny.
Exactly.
And you're so high up.
How can you not see what's going on? Because they're not watching it. And Fox, their production is like 5 steps behind everything.
Trash.
It's so bad.
It's trash.
It's very bad this year. Very bad.
Anyway, we're done ranting on that. Let's look at the entry the entry list for Circuit of the America. Ross Chastain is running Worldwide Express. Nothing too crazy there. Get bioethanol is going to be Austin Dillon. Josh Berry's
Sorry.
all in all.
Yeah, it's all in all.
Overstock.com, Josh Berry. Castrol, 125 years forward, Brad Keselowski. Gainbridge is back on Corey LaJoie's car. Mark III employee benefits is Kyle Busch. What in the world?
He's got some interesting
yes, very much so.
Sponsors this year.
Napa back with Chase. Gragson's got Rush Truck Centers. Interstate Batteries for Dunny this year, so he's going to be running the green,
Bang.
electric green. Menards and Jack Links for Ryan Blaney. AJ Allmendinger is going to be running the 13 this race. Leaf Filter is his sponsor. You got Mahindra with Briscoe. Casgrala does not have a sponsor out yet. The 16 car is going to be run by SVG. He's going to have WeatherTech on there. And that was one of his races that he was going to be running. It'll be interesting to see what he can do on this racetrack. This will be his first road course racing that's not a street course. Mr. Boucher, Fastenal. Truex got back with Bass Pro Shop. Seabell with DeWalt. Burton, Motorcraft Quick Lane. Logano with Shell. Bubba is running Mobile One. Then Willie B's running Raptor Tough. Circle and Daniel Hemrick. That's been a big disappointment and let down, that 31 car.
Yeah.
Colleague has not done anything worthwhile in Cup. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them. They're not that great, except for the few things that AJ Allmendinger won. I mean, they're a force to be reckoned with in Xfinity, but in Cup it's trash. Anyway, McDowell's running Loves. Gilliland's running Rudebush. I don't know. Ryan Preece, Haas Tooling. Romco Equipment is John Hunter. Eric Jones got the Family Dollar car. Tyler Reddick's got the Beast Unleashed, which is Monster's alcoholic version of their drink. I saw it at Wise the other day.
Interesting.
I saw it. They had it in their singles.
I never knew.
I wonder what it tastes like.
Such a thing.
Ricky Stenhouse has Palmolive on his car.
He went from what did he have?
He had Ballpark Franks.
Ballpark Franks.
He went from
now
hot
he's doing
dogs
the
to
dishes.
Washington. Yeah, exactly. LA is on Alex Bowman. Haley does not have a sponsor yet, so Rick Ware chooses not to tell who their sponsors are.
Maybe they don't have them until the day before the race.
Ty Gibbs, Monster Energy. But then, Haley did really well at Bristol. Going back to Bristol real quick. Rick Ware handled their own really, really well. Mm-hmm. I don't know where they finished, but they handled themselves really well. That surprised me, what Rick Ware's doing. Then you have, Ty Gibbs running Monster Energy. Amptricity is Timmy Hill running the 66.
Timmy Hill.
Power Source Racing.
Interesting.
Zane Smith running Focused Health. Hocevar running Delaware Life in Texas? ? Daniel Suarez is running Freeway Insurance, and then Kamumi Kobayashi is going to be running the 50 car. Mobile One. That paint scheme, I've seen it. It looks pretty cool. Yes, people, this is the same Kobayashi that would kick butt and suck down hot dogs at the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest on the 4th of July, facing Joey Chestnut.
What in the world? I've seen him eat. I saw a thing about him, and he would practicing eating all the food. Insane.
He eats. It's nuts.
9-course meals.
Yeah.
He would eat them to prepare for that.
It's crazy what he would do, and
and he's so skinny.
I didn't know he was the same guy, but apparently he's a really good racer up in Japan on some of their series over there.
Interesting.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and move on to our schedule, and then we will go to our way too early driver standings in the Cup Series. So Friday, March 22nd, we have practice and qualifying for the trucks. 3:30 Eastern is when that starts. Qualifying is at 4. That will only be on FS1. Xfinity is going to be having practice and qualifying 5:30 and 6 Eastern FS1. Now, it's a doubleheader on Saturday. So that's why they're doing all this on
Friday.
Friday, yes. I'm pulling up the See if I can pull up the weather too while I'm talking about it.
Well, hopefully it doesn't rain because it's terrible if it rains.
Yeah.
The water
So
just lays
Saturday
on.
we have practice and qualifying for. Oh my gosh! Practice and qualifying for Cup Series. Practice is going to be 10 a.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Eastern is qualifying. Practice will be on FS2. PRN's got the radio with SiriusXM simulcasting. Qualifying will be on FS1, PRN, SiriusXM. Then we go into the XPEL 225, 1:30 Eastern, FS1 MRN has that call, and SiriusXM is going to be simulcasting it for that. Now, I'm pulling this up as we talk. If I can spell. Anyway, the Woodland. It doesn't want to pull it up. We'll just pull it up by Austin. I'm sorry, I'm looking up the weather. Should have done this earlier, but I didn't think of it. There we go. Austin Bergstrom Airport. That's close enough. Anyway, so we're going on to Saturday. 1:30 was the XPEL FS1. Xfinity race is at 5 Eastern. Focused Health 250. That's going to be on FS1. PRN has that call. SiriusXM. Then we move into Sunday. Sunday at 3:30 Eastern, we have the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix. That will be on Fox. PRN's got the radio call with SiriusXM simulcasting it. And our lovely weather for Austin, our 10-day forecast. Austin Bergstrom Airport, which is not that far away. We are looking at Friday, a high of 78, low of 56. Mostly sunny. Partly cloudy. Saturday, high of 77, low of 58. Sunday, high of 78, low of 65. Windy.
Fun. No rain, though, hopefully.
No rain. No rain looks like... So there's 14% chance of rain on Saturday. 13% chance of rain Sunday. Sunday night, 58% chance. We're looking at sunsets at 7:45, so they're hoping to get this race in 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Maybe if they took away stage breaks like they did before, they could get it in 2 hours. But greedy pockets.
Yeah.
Anyway, so...
I don't think you need the stage break, especially at COTA.
No, you don't need the stage breaks.
It's so
anyway.
big.
That track is so cool. I like it.
It is not.
It is so cool to go up. So okay,
I don't like
so
it.
back whenever I still had my iRacing, Circuit of the Americas was one of the tracks. It is so wild to be going up the hill to go into the turn and just go right back down into that hairpin. I mean, that is where all the wrecks are going to happen. The trucks are going to lose 20 trucks in that spot. And then you have the paperclip, the super small, like super hairpin turn, which is even crazier. And there's so much in this racetrack between that,
there is a lot.
The chicanes.
I will give you that.
And I mean,
I just don't really enjoy it that much.
You don't like,
and it's funky shaped, like super funky shaped.
Well, it's like what, 2 miles, 2.8 miles, something like that. Anyway,
no, it's got to be more than that.
I don't remember.
It's more than that. They were just showing that. They showed Bristol on it, and Martinsville, and Richmond on it. All of them, and it didn't even go halfway of the track.
Okay, 3.426 miles is the track. So 3.426 miles. That is our largest track that we run.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's finish off on a high note, depending on who you like. Our way too early driver standings. Let's go with our top 10. We have William Byron down 6 spots to 10. Tyler Reddick down 4 spots to 9th. Seabell up 14 spots to 8th. Chastain staying stagnant, not moving, 7th. Chase Elliott up 3 spots. Denny Hamlin up 3 spots, so that's 6th and 5th. 4th place is Ryan Blaney down 3 spots. Up 3 spots is Ty Gibbs up a spot. We got Truex, and then Kyle Larson is up a spot as well. So you had Blaney pretty much drop down to fourth out of the lead. Mm-hmm. And looking at our leaders, Truex doesn't have a DNF. Ty Gibbs doesn't have a DNF. Truex has not won a stage win, and he's still second. That's impressive.
Yeah.
This was his first top 5 finish since middle of summer last year.
It is the best finish at Bristol.
Yeah.
Except for in the trucks.
Yeah, except for whenever he cleaned everybody's clock in the trucks. Tell me somebody you want to know where they are, and I'll tell you where they are on here.
Where's McDowell?
So, Michael McDowell is 17th.
Where's Corey?
Corey LaJoy. Corey LaJoy is up 1 spot to 22nd. Bubba Wallace down 4 spots to 18th. Kyle Busch down 5 spots.
I can only see that
to
going
16th.
down further. He is not good at road courses.
Hot dog Joe Logano moved up 4 spots. He is now in 26th. He has 2 DNFs so far.
Where's Austin Dillon? Sorry. Austin Dillon's having the worst
He's up 2
races of
spots.
his life.
He is up 2 spots, ladies and gentlemen. He is 30th. He doesn't have a DNF, though. 5 starts, no wins, no top 5s,
I guess because he got
10s.
crashed so bad in the beginning of Daytona, he could come back out.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that works.
I don't know. The driver with the most led laps this year, we have Denny Hamlin, followed by Kyle Larson, followed by Ty Gibbs, followed by Martin Truex Jr. And they're all over. Truex has got 122. Denny 272. Larson 224.
Gibbs, how much?
Gibbs was 194.
Yeah, he's going to win a race soon.
And then you got Seabell 101.
He's good at road courses, too. He could win.
I don't see him winning. I don't know. All right, so here we go. We're finishing off our podcast with our projected winner for the Cup Series. Who are you predicting to win the Cup Series race? Echo Park, Texas Grand Prix.
Okay, who's been the previous winners of this? I know Chase was one.
Chase won it because they gave it to him.
Yeah, they gave it to him. And Hendrick's 500th win.
Reddick won it last year.
They were waiting forever to give that out, and they were just like, this is the perfect time. It's stupid.
Reddick won it last year.
Oh, yeah, Reddick's real good.
I don't remember who won it the year the year that it rained cats and dogs was. They only run this race 3 times, haven't they?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Anyway.
It's not my favorite track, so I don't remember.
Chase and Reddick. Somebody else has had that won it before, too. I can't remember.
Probably Larson.
No, Larson hasn't won it. But, I mean, looking at your...
All right, who are you picking?
I don't know. I can see Reddick coming back out and winning it again.
Definitely, especially because he crashed this week. He'll be really, fired up to get
right. A win. So they've only run this race 3 times. Chase Elliott was the inaugural winner. Ross Chastain won it back in 22, and then last year was Tyler Reddick.
Oh, yeah, because he dropped the big watermelon off that big thing.
Yeah.
That year, too.
So, with that being said, I really want Martin to do well because he's a really good road course driver. Mm-hmm. I could see SVG up there hanging in there, top 10. I wouldn't say any higher because he's in a call-out car. Dinger's going to be up there. Top 10, I think.
I think Gibbs going to be up there again.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs will be up there. I think you got Gibbs, Truex. Truex has had such a bad thing because that first race it was pouring down so bad.
It was.
And Truex's hood came off, and no. McDowell's hood or something
Yeah.
happened with McDowell. Trucks couldn't see him because of the rain. But NASCAR's like, we're just going to run.
And it was only like 6 inches of rain laying right there.
Yeah.
It was like, it was a ridiculous race. It was so ridiculous.
And then,
Kurt Busch was he get off and he got back on somehow and it was like some crazy thing.
Yeah, he spun and then he just kept his momentum going to get off the track or get back on the track.
That was a crazy race.
It was the dumbest race in my opinion.
Yeah, it was. He should have been ready.
And then the other two, I don't know. Seabell's looking pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think
it's going to be a Toyota.
It's going to be a Toyota. I think it's going to be. I think it'll be 2311 in the 45. The 23 is going to be back there in DNF territory.
Picking 45, so I have to pick somebody else.
Yeah. The 23 is going to be in DNF territory.
Yes, he is. He's terrible at that.
The 45 is going to be the cream of the crop.
He gets so frustrated and he just ends up crashing himself out.
Yeah, he acts stupid.
He does. And
sometimes.
if he's next to Kyle Busch, them two, Kyle Busch has no patience for him.
No, Kyle Busch doesn't have patience for a lot. It's growing, but he.
Yeah. I guess I will pick Gibbs again.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Larson may walk up there and surprise us all.
Yeah, he could too. Larson's not bad at.
But so I saw an article, and I'll end on this. I saw an article to kind of give you guys kind of scratching your head on this. Somebody came out and it's an opinion piece, and I didn't really read it. I just saw the title of it. Is 2026 the year that Honda comes into Cup Series? Is the Honda Prelude that's supposed to be released in 2026 meant for NASCAR?
I hope so.
So they have to have 2 years of work. Everybody out there is like, oh, well, they need to announce it. Watch, they'll show them like, hey, we talked to them last year, 2023, and they're like, let's do this. And then boom, 25 pops up with an Accord and a Civic Type R in there running Xfinity. Honda Ridgeline.
It'd be the best looking car.
Honda Ridgeline running the trucks.
It'd be the best looking cars out there.
And then you have the Prelude coming out. But again, it's like Chevrolet switching to Cadillac. I was talking to somebody like, oh, it looks like Cadillac's getting in the mix. It's like, yeah, but Cadillac, and I don't think Cadillac has to wait too long because since it's General Motors, put it in there. Dodge is not going to do anything. Stellantis can't get out of their own way in the real world, so they're kind of done. I mean, Toyota's there, so you're not going to see a Lexus or anything.
I remember a Dodge from before, and I feel like those cars look stupid.
Yeah, but that was in the time frame where all the cars look pretty stupid.
Yeah, they did all look pretty dumb.
So, anyway, guys, I hope you guys can watch the race.
Hold on, one more thing.
We forgot our 68 laps, 231 miles for the Echo Park, 15:15:38 stage breaks.
Dumb.
Sorry, I had to put that in there.
Only 15 laps. I know that it's really long, but
Richmond 70, 160, 170, 400 laps. And then Martinsville is going to be 80, 100, 220.
I guess 15's fine, but can we do like 15, then 20, and then something? I don't know. Why do they get... I don't know. It's fine, I guess.
Well, we're gonna have 3 decent races with Circuit of the Americas, Richmond, Martinsville, and then we go back to Texas Snooze Fest.
So, what was up with? Why did somebody throw 2 cucumbers on the track?
I don't know, but did you see that Denny cut him with his sword?
Is that what they wanted him to do with it?
I think so. Now
Fruit Ninja is with fruit, not with cucumbers.
So, with that being said, they were using the swords. JGR people, and they were throwing apples at him to see if they could catch it on the tip. Uh-huh. Well, they hit Denny and the privates once. Then they started finally getting all the guys started getting Truex. I think Seabell was the best.
Yeah, Seabell was the best.
But anyway, yeah, cucumber. I don't know. This is the second time he's had cucumbers.
Silly.
We'll see what happens. So, anyway, thanks guys for listening. please be sure to share this podcast. Let's get this reach out there. Like and comment on it, and we'll catch you after Circuit of the Americas. Have a good week.
Bye.
See ya.